that no one had that covered. Oh, that's another big mistake. NBK onto Forest. The middle of the map has been opened. It's just Lekro.
Such a head scratcher. NIP on the brink of being broken back down from these Deagles, but can Lekro survive? The last line of defense on B has been around here for long enough that now the remainders of Lekro and Rez can also move in position. Bomb now realizing, okay, hold on, they're all stacking B, let's rotate around, but in the meanwhile, so a Nip.
Yeah, this is actually kind of scary for Vitality. They had a chance there, but they were so scattered across the map, they couldn't group up and take advantage of it. NIP have now rotated back towards the A bomb site. This is all on Lekro. He spotted it out. Great positioning to be able to stay alive, but he's got to get aggressive on Apex. He's got to do it quick. Big kill. Can't convert over. Dennis is here now. They shouldn't be able to salvage the M4, and indeed they won't. That should be the end. He's not going to stop the plant, but he's got a great angle and a double kill for Dennis. A dangerous, dangerous round for NIP, but they still come out on top. They're going to lose a lot of money for that victory, though.
Yeah, and off the basis of just a couple of slip-ups, like having no one watching Connector, that is almost unforgivable, and Get Right gets the ultimate punishment for it.
It's very rare to see that level of miscommunication. I don't know if it was, I mean, we obviously can't know if they were speaking to each other, but Get Right might have just looked at radar and thought that Forrest was covering Connector from Catwalk and not realizing that he was so deep and playing it a little bit more passively. Maybe he just didn't have the timing in his head right for the rotation around towards mid from Vitality, obviously because Apex came from underpass. Might have been a little bit quicker than he thought. Still no op on ZywOo. But look at NIP, going for an aggressive defense. Dennis and Get Right have both pushed down with a flashbang to clear that A ramp. Lekro a chance to get information, maybe a pick, maybe damage.
Oh, this could come down to timing if he moves again. He did just see the legs jumping across. Now he can go back in. How long can he survive for? Already players starting to rummage their way out of kitchen. Forrest is there, he's been tagged, but Lekro's still alive. He's done so much work already on this B side by his lonesome, but this time it's a bridge too far. He gets plucked out in midair, but it's going to be a decent hold, all things considered. NIP going to weather the storm, have a 3-on-2 advantage, and Apex just down to 6 health. NBK, though, does get the first in this encounter.
Oh, he gets the second as well, and now it's just Get Right. 2 low HP players. Historically, one of the best clutch players we've had in Global Offensive, and he's waiting in market. He knows NBK's on Catwalk. Must find Apex. Gonna try and stop this. No one's covering it. NBK's not watching. I think it might be a flank. The bomb gets planted. Get Right's gonna do it. A double kill for the legend, and NIP on 5.
And he was loving it as well. Both players so incredibly low, but he played it to perfection. And Vitality still can't strike onto the scoreboard. They've been close a couple of times. Again, their Lekro stalled for so long with that opening AWP pick and also focusing their attention down towards the site where he was.
And that was really the winning factor of it. Lekro only gets the 1 kill, but the fact that he had such a deep angle in towards B and he could call the B hit coming in before, like, so early on, because they actually lost. I mean, Lekro only gets 1 and they lose the follow-up duel after that. But all of NIP was there, so when they finally get those 2 kills of the main B defenders, there's still 2 other people to follow up waiting in the site. Just resistance every step of the way from NIP. And Vitality, it's close, but they can't pull it out. They call a timeout on the back of that loss. They have plenty of money now. You have to imagine ZywOo can be dropped in AWP by NBK or Alex. They're not going to go for it yet. So even without monetary issues, still keeping ZywOo away from that weapon just for the moment.
Get Right, too aggressive. Gonna get punished, but actually does get the molly frag onto ZywOo anyway. So they're gonna trade 1 for 1. But now that damage is being inflicted across to NIP. This is maybe the reason they didn't pick up an AWP. They wanted a faster up-in-your-face approach, and Dennis, he's whiffed out an opportunity. Really should have been a kill, but same can be said for Apex. Dennis survives on 20 health, 2-on-2. This is still up in the air, and now it's going the way of NIP. Vitality have had opportunities. They've had moments where you think the round is gonna go their way, and it just slips through their fingers. There's still a lot of time, though, for RPK, and he does have control over the bomb.
I think they realize the possibility, but want to see if RPK is going to double pack. He has a real chance. A real chance to take this one away. Dennis and Lekro are going to stick together on this retake. Dennis with low HP. Neither of them have any kits. There's plenty of money for it. Lekro just picks one up off a dead body. They've got to be careful. Now they've split, though. Lecro's going to have an interesting one-on-one duel with RPK, who has a chance for some kind of a miraculous clutch for the French side.
Yeah, chance at redemption as well. Up into this round, he only had 12 ADR, but now here we go. It's a one-on-one. It's position compromised, but Dennis, only with 20 health, does have an up to his name. Gonna smoke on and try and get the bomb defusal in amongst it. RPK spraying, not entirely sure where the bomb's planted for. Oh, not like this, RPK! The tank is about to come to pieces. He assumes it's a fake, but it's not. NIP get the ninja defuse in the smoke, and Vitality are gonna be gutted.
He just completely forgot the angle needed for his own plant. A great shot on the Lecro, and Dennis all smiles. Inside of the smoke, steals away the opportunity for the clutch. That one hurts. NIP off to a phenomenal lead, 6-0. Money still right on the edge. Those two faces say it all. The difference is in emotion. ZywOo finally with the AWP, 7 rounds in.
He was such an integral part of Overpass. They've left it late, but can he still have the impact? Only 1 kill, make it 2. Dennis goes for the slow peek and gets punished.
Late peek as well without a flashbang that was just thrown, oddly enough. So, Dennis wins a clutch, but comes down to earth real quick. He's got $0 in the bank. This is a critical round for Vitality to get back on the board. For the first time, Rez gets blind, but he just takes the shots anyways and does pretty decent damage onto Apex. That one pick, though, is really going to thin and spread out this defense, which means there should be more opportunities for ZywOo in the future. Back to the B bomb site, NBK and Palace has been spotted by Rez. That'll keep him frozen. That'll keep them considering A. Lecro's jump spotting, but he doesn't have a Molotov. He doesn't have a smoke to really slow them down once he spots them. And no backup is going to come quickly.
Timing on that nade, though. Everyone's been chunked down. Lecro, again, on the side, able to deliver one fatal blow, looking for more, finds it onto Alex, and no one's there to be able to avenge him either. Lecro's done enough. What a hold by the man, and now MBK's all that remains. 25 seconds to get on the site. Surely no hope of Vitality once again. Gonna be swatted away by an IP.
Oh, just completely shut down. That is so good from Lecro. The timing on the nade, as you said, softens him up. Forrest gets to catwalk just in time, in great positioning to catch RPK off. Also a situation where Forrest rotated to catwalk will be able to take the first contact, at least pull attention away from Lecro, which leads to his second kill. But great maneuvering throughout that bomb site. And somehow, even though the opening pick goes to Vitality, that's a strong win for NIP. They survive with 4 players. No one falls after that pick. Dennis and Lecro at the top of the scoreboard, each with 11 kills.
The thing is, though, that consistently Vitality have been chipping away at some of these guns. You can see that Dennis down to $850, Lecro 300. You go back to that RPK play, the 1-on-2 where the diffuse comes in the smoke.
Yep.
It's such a vital part in both these teams' careers to miss out on that clutch. That is absolutely brutal.
It really hurts. I mean, you're right. Vitality, up until this point, have had NIP on the ropes economically. They just haven't been able to convert. They had 3 plants in a row, 2 of those getting NIP down to just 1 player. Now we have aggression from Rez. How long does he want to stick around? He's got to know they're going to start circling behind him. That flashbang, I think, dissuades him, but it's too late. No one else there to cover. Forrest is smoked off in window. Nobody in connector. And Rez just runs out of time at top mid. So a 1-for-1 trade off that aggression. You have to imagine Lecro's done enough for Vitality not really to want to test this B bomb site again. Oh, great shot as the smoke fades.
Yeah, definitely think that's a point worth making, that Lecro has been so good. Maybe going to focus her attention on A, but here's Dennis, and he's feeling it again. He had a bit of an off-second map.
Apex is going to be so disappointed.
Those are the kind of encounters you expect him to win.
He just missed every single shot. He had about 5 bullets before Dennis could even react. Dennis is still going to be tested here. So is Forrest. Who's going to win? Who's going to come out on top of his test? But now we go to Dennis.
Molotov's not going to sway him, though. Can just stay in shadow. He's got a player on stairs, which is going to be Forrest. So Crossfire has been implemented by NIP. They assume that Dennis has gone back to the side. I have no idea, but he's going to hit the freest of kills. Now the bomb's been dropped out. MBK has to watch all the angles, and NIP continue their winning ways.
What a great round from Dennis. No one's going to care about the slow start in this event if he delivers in this fashion from here on out. This is a very well-played round from him. Gets just a little bit, well, I mean, actually, excuse me, he gets very lucky. That would be, I have to imagine that sequence with Apex would be one of his classic reaction pictures. We've seen some insane faces come out of Apex in the heat of gameplay, and that, you would imagine, would be another one. That's a missed opportunity. The RPK clutch, a missed opportunity. The ZywOo pick into a B hit that just gets demolished is a missed opportunity. There's too many of those early on for Vitality, and now this is going to be tough to recover from.
Is there going to be another opportunity here? Because smokes are being deployed. The hit's imminent, but Get Right's not having any of it. Does get taken down through the floorboards by Apex, who's looking to find a second, but this push has been repelled. There is a flank, though. Yeah,
Alex has pushed all the way through the B bomb site now. It's be so tough for him to have an impact that could turn this round in his favor, and you think he's been spotted? Not yet. Dennis hasn't looked over. Alex is just telling Apex to stay alive. This could be a knife kill. I think it is. He's coming behind him, considering it. And there's just a straight down execution, but he's got an AWP now. They need to recover the bomb. They don't have any nades. This AWP is pretty much all they've got.
Yeah, flashbang was picked up, but they desperately want to smoke right now. Smoke for the cross, and that's why. Lekro was holding it down from jungle. Now Alex is like, okay, I'm probably going out. Let's just make sure they don't retrieve the AWP. Which is fair enough, all things considered. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can try and save the economy all you want. Your team's down 9-0.
Well, he didn't make the AWP over the wall either, so NIP are going to have that back in their hands for free. Nothing's going right for Vitality, is it?
One of those days. I mean, everything was going right for them on Overpass. You have to also tip your hat to NIP to have the resilience and to just completely wipe away that last map, knowing that you had a chance to 2-0 this best of 3.
There's just so much experience across these two teams, even if you have some I mean, not so much on NIP side of things as Rez and Lekro are got to be considered like pretty big veterans at this point. But certainly on Vitality, young players. But the veterans have put them in a good position to win, or I mean, to at least fight for this third map, although it all seems to be crumbling down. Helping them to stabilize after getting demolished on Cash, winning Overpass in convincing fashion. Here on Mirage, not yet able to put up a fight. Lekro spots both of those. That's a very narrow crack, but he just wants the information to get that wider angle. We saw that previously as well. Misses that one, but utility can be used to keep him safe.
Almost may get lulled into a false sense of security because Forrest is also on the truck. What's happening? Get right, but the flank got caught. MPK is a step ahead of Lekro, but this is it. They had no idea that Forrest was also stacked on the side.
I have no idea how this round just got so close. So many kills coming out quickly. NIP must keep their focus. To lose this kind of a lead in a round at this point in the tournament is just not acceptable. And Forrest has to assume that Alex has picked up the bomb, which he has, but gambling on this B bomb site, it's not going to yield anything positive for him. Alex taking it slow, no idea as well where Forrest could be. But I don't know. This is going to be a long route over to the other bomb site. Alex is going to have so much time to get into a position, and we're going to have to see one of Forrest's trademark shots if he wants to win this. He does have a kit, he does have a smoke as well. But Alex putting himself in a position to avoid a smoke-diffused disaster.
Still relatively out in the open. It's going to come down to the peak, and DeForest just see him before the flash detonated. Maybe he did, calling that he's gone back into the smoke, finds him, but Alex is quicker on the trigger this time. Vitality get their first round, but they still trail 9-1.
Tell you what, Alex plays a dangerous game in that round. He gave Forrest a couple opportunities to win that outright. Here's one kill. You have to like MBK getting this aggressive and just getting tired of losing, going for everything. Alex gets Get Right, as you said, on the flank.
I believe that was still at T-spawn as well.
NIP is going to be kicking himself for losing that one, but still with a 9-1 lead, still in pretty solid control of this game. This one's going to hurt though. Unfortunately, Vitality, if that win had come earlier during certain points of this half, NIP would have been broke immediately upon this loss. As it stands, because they were able to win some pretty convincingly in that stretch towards the end of it, they have enough money to get a very strong buy. Op on Lekro, rifles on Forrest and Rez, SMG on Get Right. They've got 2 kits as well and pretty good amount of utility.
But the power comes in here, Jason, that if Vitality win this round, NIP will be broken. There's a chance they could even pull this back to 9-6.
This round is probably the most important we've seen in this half so far. If Vitality cannot win this, it's going to be such a huge lead in the first half for NIP. It's the same situation. Vitality, upon a loss here, economically speaking, would be decimated.
So much on the balance, on the scales, to see which of these 2 teams progresses to the top 8. Vitality deciding to go mid again. They've been hurt quite a few times down this avenue of the map, but this time Nip don't have enough firepower to contend it. Instead, Forrest is going to be coming around from the side. This is his chance. He's done a lot of damage, though, and Apex is down to just 22. He has to back away in mid. Rez also, though, has to fall out of window, so Vitality, they've won the mid battle for now.
Well, here's the next play. Dennis with this push in Palace. It's great positioning. What does he decide to do? He just had to go clear A ramp. He's got to call out to his teammates that A ramp is open. They could be inside of the site. NBK's now dinked. Very low HP and a couple players, and that could be an easy mop-up for Dennis. I don't think NBK is going to expect this flank so early, and even if he does, no HP to really get in a fight. Dennis holding the trigger. He can stop the plant, tapping away, runs out of bullets, but again, ZywOo is so low, and now he's got to turn his attention. ZywOo peering towards spawn. That's a great shot. More is needed. More is needed from the young player, but it's not going to happen. Forrest from behind. A kit in his hands as well, in a 2-on-2.
And there's a smoke. Forrest can put that smoke down. This is such an important trade. It's going to go in favor of Alex for now. Dennis down to 28. Apex watching from connector. Here comes the smoke. It's just about on point to go for the defuse. Forrest finds it. Here comes Alex. He's going to spray through the smoke now. Can't quite land. Onto Dennis, who comes around the side, gets the kill, and NIP are going to do it just about in the nick of time.
Oh, they've done it. They have. They've got the defuse. Dennis, and you could see Vitality maybe having some nightmares of the previous smoke defuse, really commits to trying to find that diffuser in the smoke. Smart play from Dennis. Just tap the bomb and wrap around the box. You know he's going to be overexposed, and Apex not happy. 10-1 now, and we mentioned how important that round was. Vitality do not have much to fight with. The MAC-10 on ZywOo, a Deagle, some P250s. They've got good utility, but the weaponry is just so outclassed in the favor of NIP. And it's Dennis leading the way. Been waiting for this kind of a performance from him in a Ninja's uniform, and now he's delivering in the 3rd map of his series to get them to the top 8.
What a time to step it up. 145 ADR. 3 of NIP over the 100 mark, though. Lekro and Rez also having a performance to be delighted about on the side of NIP. In the meanwhile, though, Vitality have gone all in on this round. They know that NIP still haven't fully recovered. There is still a way back in. May not be all doom and gloom yet if they can pick up this round.
Lekro's been phenomenal here, though. He's been so good. Force in assistance as well. And here's the tough part. I don't think NIP is really going to make any jumps on cheating over at this point in the game, especially with the knowledge that it'll be a low buy. But there's no noise across the map. There's some smokes in mid at this point, but Dennis is going to get information with a pop flash that mid is entirely clear. So NIP probably has a good read of what's coming, and now they know as the smoke starts to rain out, this nade is going to be a catastrophe for Vitality.
Lekro's been flashed a couple of times. This is where the MAC-7's at its most prolific, and Lekro with 2, make it 3, nearly a 4th. Apex gets the buckshot to the face, but he is going to be able to hold the line again.
All smiles for the Swedes. I love the fact that Lekro went back for that 4th kill as well. What a great sequence with that shotgun. They have to get close. They don't expect it. Nice kills all around, and Forrest there just for a little bit of assistance. Lekro has been an absolute rock at the B bomb site.
This is one of the best B holds performances that I've seen in quite some time. Lekro has been on point. Often by himself, getting 2 or 3 kills. Here comes a stack. Hoping that one of NIP decide to push this, give them a weapon across. And they may actually get their reward because Rez, unbeknownst to him, is coming through. Cue the Jaws music, it could be. A kill going across the Vitality, and Rez is going to be quite surprised. A bit of a jump scare.
Rez has had a bit of an awkward half. Him and GetRight haven't seen a whole lot of action. Probably itching for some kills in this deciding map. 11-1. And yeah, they have an M4. They have no armor. They have 1 smoke that's picked up, which could actually be pretty useful. But GetRight's going to be playing in front of it. He's actually peering in towards Palace right now. This could actually be dangerous. If GetRight goes down, he's not pushing in, though, which is smart. He can get away if he spots this push coming early. Here they come, turning the corner. 2 quick kills. That's the bomb down. He's going to stay here. A ramp is being covered by his teammate ZywOo. Does get the kill with the M4, but is quickly taken down after. A commanding lead for NIP.
Is back to the raw dominance that we saw on Cash. And in that round, Vitality didn't have any armor. Here's the stack again. You can see Rez drilled into the head by 3 separate players. But this is really where the SMG is going to rip through oncoming terrorists. No armor there to help them out. And as you say, I mean, this has just been dominant. Pure.
And, I mean, here's it's a dominant score, but the start of this game, like the first 7 rounds, were not dominant at all. And there can be so many ifs, and it's not going to be any kind of consolation for Vitality or for the French fans. But this truly is one of those games that could have been so much closer, that could have been a grinded out battle back and forth, and so many things could be different. There was about a 4-round stretch where Vitality was able to get 3 plants and just not able to convert any of those rounds into a win. If they had at any of those points, they would have reset NIP and been able to get 3 or 4 rounds early on. But now this is just falling flat.
Yeah, I mean, there's been 3 times where they've got a plant down and 1 NIP player has survived. There's been another round where 2 survived. So you can see that Vitality, they've had the chances, they've had the opportunities, just not quite able to grab onto them. And now best case scenario is a 12-3 half. And it may not even go that nicely for them. NIP, again, of course, have Lekro, joined by Forest on B side. Mid control not really being established, and NIP, I can't think of too many times they've had an AWP on their CT side. It's been pretty much assault rifles across the board.
We've seen, I think Dennis has had it 1 or 2 rounds and Lekro's had it once, but it hasn't had any kind of like real impact. So for them, they're just like, yeah, let's just play with the rifles. It helps as well that they haven't had to contend. Remember, Vitality didn't get an AWP in ZywOo's hands, even though they had the ability until round 7. So they haven't really had to contend with an opposing AWPer either.
Yeah, they were definitely going for the more explosive hits and slowed it down maybe a little bit too late. He does have an AWP for the time being. MBK is going to get tested, just sees the elbow. Round the corner from GetRight, who still gets the upper hand. And what an important kill that's going to end up being. It funnels the rest of the T's through ramp and mid. Alex is at least counteracted with a kill of his own onto Forest, but it leaves RPK in Sandwich and Apex just behind him. And Alex has decided to start to make a move around the other side. The Molotov is going to finish off GetRight. In fact, he gets plucked out from RPK instead. But now, Alex, who was previously seen in mid, has to try and come through ramp with 15 seconds to go and just 52 health to his name. The bomb's in a pretty awkward spot as well. Does find Rez to start things off. But when you have an NIP player in Palace, this round should be done.
Yeah, even going to run through that Molotov, even if Lekro wasn't there. But now the time is out. They can actually let him live. They can go for the hard punish for that last round. I don't think they got it. I think Dennis killed him just before the round was over. 13-1. NIP just suffocating Vitality in this, not giving them any opportunities for a comeback. Another hit. Feels like Vitality relying on that up from ZywOo to find them a pick, and just an awkward peek. Shuts him down from jungle. Buying up what they can, and I mean, you can tell. Still late getting out of spawn. I think they're all stumped on what even to do. Everyone just kind of snatching things up right at the end, and they've just called a set piece towards this A bomb site and see what happens.
Throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks. And right now, not much. Alex has died to NBK. Okay then, well that's awkward. Rez in the meanwhile Gonna hold on, but the grenade lands by his feet. There's Dennis with 1 and 2, looking for a third. MBK answers back. Gonna try and make amends for that barbecue onto his teammate, but GetRight is there to deliver the fatal blow, and it's 14-1 after the first half.
So much riding on this map. There's got to be so much pressure on these players, but certainly getting out to a 14-1 lead on Mirage is really going to help calm down the nerves. NIP on the verge of accomplishing one of their biggest goals, making it to the Legends, or to Legend status. We'll see if they can do it when we come back. Vitality could not find enough weaknesses in that NIP defense, and because of that, they face a 1-14 deficit. NIP needing just 2 rounds to move on to the top 8 of IEM Katowice, and they're doing it in stunning fashion. Dennis has struggled all tournament long with confidence, with his mentality. He's spoken about it, but this map, you don't see any of that. 22-7 in a resurgent performance.
You can even extend that to his career in NIP. What a time for him to find some form. Apex gonna find 1 and a second. This is what we're looking for from Vitality. It could have been a whole different scoreline, had a couple of rounds gone slightly different, but Rez gonna look to breathe down the next collectively of Vitality, put some fear in amongst them. RPK fears no man. Rez has been put down alongside him. NIP should follow. So Vitality at least gonna make a go of this, but it is the grizzled veterans of Forest and GetRight that stand between them and their second round. GetRight does have a P250, and he's found the head of ZywOo. As some information, though, that's gathered from Vitality, they now know that GetRight's in mid. It's all about where Forest is, and there is still a minute to play with, so they can't take anything for granted at this stage.
Oh, I mean, of course not. GetRight and Forest have won so many of these situations, and it's not easy to do. Their heyday came in eras past when they were able to do that seemingly at will. I like the way Vitality is playing this, though. Alex and RPK are so far back in the B bomb site. Apex is so passive in window. NBK so passive at that A bomb site. They're not biting on this fake of the smoke. They're just saying, you know what? We're going to wait until you're committed, until we see the bomb being planted, and then we're going to have everyone alive to rotate over and ensure this victory. Even in a 4-on-2, with a 14-1 deficit, you never, ever, ever feel comfortable. It's going to take so long before Vitality can feel any kind of positivity in this half. Off the back of Apex pushing up mid, they're at least going to get this pissed around. Only 12 seconds left, and Forrest is going to fall. Triple kill for Apex, but that push up mid was stellar. Not even a smile cracking his face. He knows the stakes.
Yeah, he'll certainly feel that that's just a drop in the bucket at this stage, but it could start to get a lot more interesting if they can chip together some consecutive rounds and get a solid economy on board. He had a couple of moments where he did whiff an opportunity on Dennis, of course, on the A side. We discussed this before, could have had a big impact on the round. But here we go. It's a lot of rifles in play. Gonna have 3 alongside a UMP, and an MP9. It's the MP9 that's taking the fight up mid, and so far, ZywOo, he's picked up 3 headshots with it. Solid hold. It was an eco round, but that's money in the bank towards his AWP.
Now, I was going to say, money in the bank for the AWPer is never a bad thing. I don't think NIP invested anything in that round. Just very, very little. Obviously, no armor. But with such a big lead, why even go for that? Which is, I think, their kind of thought process, which is probably why ZywOo survived. So many Glocks shooting at him at that range. It's like the Klob from GoldenEye. They just don't do anything. Shout out to all my 90s gamers out there.
What a classic game that was. Meanwhile, Vitality now have to deal with the superior test of AK-47s, and Apex is going to come out swinging. ZywOo narrowly missing out on that chance. Lekro just hold the line for a few more seconds alongside Rez. But now ZywOo flicks across to get right. This is the half, remember, that they posted up a lot of rounds on Overpass. So you may not write Vitality off just yet. There could be some more twists and turns. And remember, with so much on the line, the Nips start to feel the pressure.
This felt like NIP kind of testing the waters in mid of what exactly they were going to see moving forward. They knew eventually they'd see that AWP on ZywOo, and it's got get right, but I mean, really not even waiting, not even pausing to set up the smokes that we so often see. It's quiet across the map. NIP at least have Rez in a good position. He's a top connector just waiting. Lekro, with plenty of time on the clock, can be very patient, can be very meticulous in how he clears this out. And Vitality, again, falling back into that very passive defense to ensure the round win. They're not willing to take the fights far away from the bomb sites. They want to make sure that everyone is going to be alive. If NIP do get in, do plant that bomb, they'll have enough bodies for the retake. They have 2 kits as well. And NIP have given up the game. Now Alex rotating to Catwalk. He could stop him before they even get into the bomb site. ZywOo completely blind. Rez is going to be exposed from Catwalk. He's got to move forward. There's a kill, but there's 2 for Vitality. 8 seconds. He's going to go for the burst fire, which so often betrays you. And NBK keeps 3 players alive by finishing that off. A 4th round now for the Frenchman.
Actually, a pretty important narrow miss with the burst Glock. That would have been 3 players dead. So 3 replenished weapons that would have severely hurt the economy of Vitality. As it stands, they can replenish no problems, but ZywOo and Alex below $1,000, Apex dead on $1,000, and then IP decide to upgrade with some deagles, but not too much else. Of course, they know that this lead can quickly dwindle if they don't manage their economy properly. That flashbang does catch the player pushing out connector flush in the face, but Forrest, he's been doused somewhat, down to 29 health.
Yeah, nade hurts a little bit more than a flashbang. Alex on Catwalk, Apex and ZywOo very centralized around top connector and window room. Alex and RPK together have pretty much been sticking around this B bomb site. Inside of it, Alex has strayed over towards Catwalk when they're convinced the A bomb site or mid is going to be under an attack, but for the most part, they're playing the buddy system.
Yeah, quite a different style to how Lekro was holding B when he was consistently in B apps and trying to push and look for information. He is now going to be moving over on the B side. Now the timing could not have been worse. Alex switched weapons, but Lecro's not able to capitalize on it. And now Alex and RPK going to hold on for dear life. Forest 1 on 5 with 29 HP. This would be one of the plays of the major for sure, but it won't be happening. Apex finds him and puts him down.
Plays of the major, that would have been the graffiti play if Forrest pulled that one off.
Oh yeah.
Not to be. 14-5. Some narrow misses. Lecro almost causes enough havoc at that B bomb site to open things up for his teammates. Probably a little frustrated he couldn't find that kill on Alex, who gets caught with timing and a nade in his hand. Long way to go. Still, NIP now aligning towards this A-bomb site. They've tested mid, they just tested B and Catwalk with Deagles. Now the A-bomb site seems to be under pressure. Alex and ZywOo in mid. Here come the smokes. Here comes a set piece. They want to block that AWP out from having impact. Apex is going to step in front of the smokes. He's going to get in before it plumes. Now he's over at triple box, completely blind. This is a tough situation to be in. NBK's going to get 2, though. He's going to hold so well. No one from NIP, any kind of aggression. And NBK, the captain of Vitality, gets 4, and he holds on strong. 6-14. And Vitality do not look phased at all by the scoreline coming into this half.
They did not lose a single point of health in that round either. Everybody 100 by the end of it. What a hold by NBK. Phenomenal work by him. You can see they did look actually quite relaxed. Hand over. The CT side is now 5 unanswered rounds. No plant in amongst those 5 rounds too. Is looking grim for NIP additionally. Mac 10, UMP. They do have max round loss bonus, of course. Molotov gonna draw them out up close and personal. This is where the SMGs could very well get the upper hand. RPK now really needs to hold on for his team, but he's only able to get the one alongside ZywOo. All 3 remainders of the T's, though, are very, very low. Now Apex is finishing them off 1 by 1 as he reclaims the site with a 3K.
I think Rez was looking for where the bomb might be and just gets caught, not ready for market. And you're right. I mean, just even though the hold wasn't the strongest we've ever seen, enough damage dealt to be able to mop them up. Vitality inching closer. Now 6 in a row in this second half. And NIP, the scary thing is when Vitality was having that stretch in the early stages of their T half, they had 4 plants in the first 6 rounds. NIP hasn't even gotten close to a bomb site.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Oh dear.
Well, that was just incredibly awkward, and Apex is going to pay the price. Did some damage on his way out, but that's not good enough for Vitality. This really now spreads them thinly. The pressure will be mounting. It's all well and good getting 6 rounds in a row, but when you're 14-1 behind, all it takes is one mistake. One lapse in concentration and everything can come tumbling down.
It also means because a pick comes out so early in this round that NIP can really slow down the pace. They can wait and see what the reaction. You can see hitting the pause button, letting Lecro just watch and hope that someone from Vitality is going to peek into it. They don't have to be the aggressors and kind of swing into the angle of the AWP. ZywOo was peering over the smoke at the base of Connector. Now blocked off. Oh, and Dennis, that nade gives up the position of Alex. And also the running gives up the fact that he's fallen away. Dennis is going to try and catch him. That's too close for RPK. No backup. This could be NIP getting to map point. Alex has everything to do inside the site. So many different angles. He's tagged down so low. Dennis is going to find him. ZywOo has to do whatever he can. They have to at least try and see if they can make an opportunity for themselves, but it's not to be. NBK in a 1-on-5 can only get the 1.
We've reached that stage, ladies and gentlemen. Ninjas in Pajamas have 8 match points. 8 points in which to secure to get to the top 8 of the major. They are so close, it is now tangible. And Vitality don't have any timeouts remaining. It's not as if they can call one to try and slow things down, discuss where things went wrong. I mean, really, that came off the back of Apex just getting caught out in the open.
Yes, you can still recover from that scenario. Obviously, that one hurts. Also, I mean, RPK getting caught in those holes, not able to get anything done. Either way, here we go again. Back to the B bomb site. They want to pressure. That Molotov isn't going to do anything. It's thrown into a smoke. Rez jumps through. His teammates can't follow. His teammates can't do anything about this. RPK is going to be able to hold on. This B rush is stalled out. There's going to be 3 defenders here very, very quickly, and they must find RPK.
Lecro's found Alex though, so RPK is the last piece of the puzzle. MBK's gone down too. Still smoke in the eyes, and they've called it. They've decided to just spray through the smoke. Why not? ZywOo, though, able to get 1. It's a 2-on-3, and he's down to 40 health. He needs Apex to get a move on through short. ZywOo cannot push through by himself. He needs Apex to draw away some of this fire, and everyone was set up for the play from ZywOo. Allows Apex to strike, but the ninjas in pajamas, they've done it. They get top 8.
You can see what it means, a historic performance for NIP. It's been 3 years since they were top 8 at a major, and through all the personal struggles, through all the difficulties of the team, they finally made it back. For the Frenchmen, the core, the veterans of that team, RPK, Apex, NBK, they'll have to wait a little bit longer. But this journey from NIP has been rewarded. The first accomplishment is theirs, and they can rejoice. Our desk is ready. They'll be with you to talk you through it.
That's right, the Ninjas in Pajamas have done it. Got a little scary there early on in this second half, but fear not. NIP are here, and they're here to stay for what is going to be the championship stage of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major. And after what was a 14-round sort of just, I don't even know where to start, Chad.
Yeah, 14-1 in the first half. That's pretty crazy, right? That felt like it was never going to get taken away from them at any point. I think when you look at all those clutches, Dennis, you know, he's been so harsh on himself. The community's done the same, but he stepped up in the moment that's mattered, and he's been the top fragger here in the map to get them across the line. Fantastic scenes from NIP.
Yeah, and I mean, we said before the match started, Dennis needed to come up big, and he did.
Yeah.
In both of these games that NIP won in this series, he was, in my eyes, one of the biggest performers.
Yeah, and I mean, those numbers would speak for themselves. You can see the sort of defeat and dismay there on the side of Vitality, and rightfully so. Guys, we need to say a few words perhaps as to what their run has been. I mean, this was a true run through into the major.
Yeah, and I think that what they've done is they've really set up some big building blocks for the French scene in the future just based on the way that they've played Counter-Strike throughout this tournament. We've got to see some really good things from ZywOo, but also the other members have stepped on up. They've played a brand of Counter-Strike that I don't think the French have ever touched before, especially at this level. So all things said and done, they're going to be heartbroken right now, but positive signs for the future.
Heartbroken is one thing, positive is another, and that is exactly what Ninjas in Pajamas find themselves in right now. We do have Dennis on the sidelines with Frankie. We're going to get some insight as how that's going down there.
As Moses said, after nearly 3 years, Ninjas in Pajamas have finally got their legend status back. How does it feel to be going to the top 8, Dennis?
I mean, it feels great, of course, and I think we're going to do great, so I'm very satisfied.
Now, I don't know if I owe you an apology, but I have had some messages saying I jinxed you in that second map, Dennis. What happened, in fact, on Overpass?
Actually, I wanted to make it interesting, the whole team did, so we made it go to the third map.
Faking. It's one of your specialities, isn't it, Dennis? Now, how did you get your motivation back to bring it home in that third map?
I just tried to focus on myself again, and we all did. We just said, let's go this last map. We knew we were good on Mirage, and then we did it.
And what is it like to be part of this roster, Dennis?
It's great. We have a lot of fun, and it's an awesome. They are awesome, so we have a lot of fun, and it's great. Yeah.
And those fans are here for you now, so I should let you get to them in a moment. But I do just want to ask about being under a team with the legendary Forest, because again, we're still asking ourselves, how is he still so good?
I don't know, actually. He's just good.
Maybe one day he'll talk to me and I can ask him myself. Well, congratulations, Dennis. Go celebrate with the team. We're going to see you next week in the Spodek. Go and meet the fans. NIP, they're cheering for the boys. Let's head back to the desk.
That's a feels good man there for the side of the Ninjas in Pajamas. What has been a turbulent run over the course of a year.
Yeah, and this is just a classic NIP game. You know, that dominant CT half, winning so many clutches in the first half. Actually, Vitality got the bomb down 4 out of the first 6 rounds, walked away with none of those.
Yeah, and that's where I think, you know, the pedigree, or at least the experience from the core of the NIP roster really showed up, because on the Telestrator, we actually have the clutches you were talking about.
I think, Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Should we check it out?
Let's just jump right over into it. Let's do it.
So this is where heartbreak happened as I walk a little bit too quick for the cameraman. This is the first clutch right here. This is a 3-0. This is just a 2-on-2. It's only with pistols. It's not, necessarily anything bad, but it's how all these are going to stack up. So Dennis here, he gets both these kills. As, if they lost this, okay, money's on the rocks early. Let's move on to the second clutch. This one here is a little bit more dicey. It's Gerai in a 1-on-2 situation. The HP is low, but the fact that he's still able to pull this off, able to stay poised, and continue to put rounds on the board for NIP, the frustration at this point starting to build from the side of Vitality. You're going to see him walk on in here, get these 2 kills. Nice and easy. There's one. The other guy's on low HP. It's not planning for him. There's 2. And this is the last clutch. This is the nail in the coffin. This is RPK in a 1-on-2 situation. He does fantastic to get the bomb down. Does fantastic to find the kill. But look at this. Dennis on low HP. Smoke in hand. No kit. Sits the 10-second defuse. And at this point, that's the heartbreak. That's Vitality done. And that's when I thought the game was over. He's just sticking it. That's an in-your-face move right there. So good stuff from NIP.
It's almost an insult to injury at that point, huh, Sean?
It is, especially given the fact where NIP's economy was at that stage in the match. They obviously, if you're Vitality in that situation, you just feel the life is sucked out of your team.
Well, when they broke them, right, they won that one round. It looked like they almost broke the economy. You already saw like a compromised buy come in. If the guys from Vitality were able to win that following round, they were able to string 2 together, they may have actually had a decent comeback, but it just wasn't to be. They lost another clutch. I think Alex was left in a clutch against Dennis in Connector, and just nothing went their way on that first half of Mirage. So to mount a comeback from 14-1 down, it's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, for the run that NIP has had here, it hasn't been the easiest affairs. I mean, I think one of the best scorelines we did see was like a 16-5 over Hellraisers, and even that isn't indicative of a very functioning, a very mechanically sound Ninjas in Pajamas.
But to be fair, they did play, very tough opponents, yes. Liquid and MIBR being the 2 teams that they lost to here in the Legend stage. So you can't really take too much away from those losses, especially the Liquid one on Overpass. We had no data on them.
I definitely feel that they've gotten better as all of these tournaments have progressed, right? Each day they've shown something new and they've been getting better as a unit. Hasn't just been Forest with a big performance, hasn't just been Rez with a big performance. Now it's actually the whole team is coming together, and that's positive signs because the next stage is the championship bracket.
Yeah, and the championship bracket is starting to be determined, but of course we do have one more matchup. We've already sent Ents through, now we're sending the Ninjas in Pajamas through. And the next matchup is a real spicy meatball. If you're into spaghetti, you might want to stick around, but make sure you don't let your hands get too sweaty. This fork and knife starts slipping and whatnot. Either way, FaZe and Cloud9 coming at you live and direct here from the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice when we come back from this break.
Champions of ESL 1 Cologne.
Do you remember?
Welcome to the Cathedral of Counter-Strike.
Think you've seen it all?
He reads it! Are you ready to be a part of Counter-Strike history?
ESL 1 returns to Cologne in 2019.
Are you searching for a better Counter-Strike experience all in one place? Compete for over $1 million in PUG and League prizes all on one platform. Track and share your performance with our advanced stats pages. Frag out and rank up on the industry-leading anti-cheat. Sign up for ESEA today.
Think he can't clutch through a smoke while recording in full resolution and streaming the play to the world? Watch this. Counter-terrorists win. Think he can't get famous in a flash? Like become your own meme famous? Watch this. Think he's been there, done that? With Intel Core i7, he's just getting started. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
conquer.
I've been there since the beginning. Every map, every frag, every moment. I run, but I never hide. With knowledge comes power, and power is to be wielded wisely. Which is why, as the expert, I bet with Betway. If you know CSGO, then you'll know the best way to bet on esports is with Betway, for the love of the game.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, HyperX, Bedway, and Pay Safeguard. Vodafone presents the pre-match.
It was over in Boston just a year ago, January 28th to be precise, where Cloud9 and FaZe clashed in the grand final of the major. North American soil and North American victors, Cloud9 did triumph and were plagued by underperformances, unable to match the peak they reached over in Boston. Now, Cloud9 are back and better than ever, but with a very different roster, and now against the ropes. FaZe Clan, their opponents again. They've mixed and matched a little bit in their roster, and we're going to be seeing one of them fall and one of them lock themselves in for the top 8. Just one spot and 2 teams. Now, before I go ahead and set the scene and talk to my analysts about how this one's going to shape up, vetoes and all of that good stuff, we're going to go ahead and head over to the couch for some very special analysis and a bit of Counter-Strike chit-chat. Why don't we go ahead and see what Trace has managed to rummage around and find over on the players area.
Yeah, you know, Alex, thank you very much. First and foremost, I just want to say it's a very complex situation. I guess we could easily summarize that. I do have some guests here, very special ones indeed. And they happen to all know each other, so that works out very well, I think.
Great transition there. Smooth.
Hey, I'm learning from some of the best around here. That's about how it goes.
Yeah. Enjoying your time on the desk, huh?
Not about me, Jordan. It's about you. Let's talk about you guys.
Here.
Now, my whole life, that's a different story. That could take minutes and a half.
I think we could probably break down your life.
You could probably individually already have broke down my life in different ways. But for what it's worth, we did see a hell of a game yesterday from you guys. You guys really exceeded all expectations coming into this tournament. And, well, unfortunately, as the story is told, you run into FaZe, and then you have this just banger of a matchup.
I'm kind of upset that your expectations weren't higher for us.
I didn't say me personally. Let's not point fingers around here. That's where things get a little...
Yeah. No, it was a good match. We were glad to take it where it was, take it to the third map, 16-14. Get to that point. Obviously upset with how it ended up, but, you know, of course, you know, we could look at all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, which I know you're going to want to do a couple of, but...
There will be time for that, absolutely. And perhaps we can start that off right now. We've actually selected some of the footage from yesterday and some of the things that maybe were pointed out or not pointed out, or maybe we wanted to just get your perspectives on this, because that's not something that's very often thrown out there. I mean, we can break it down on the analyst desk all day for what it's worth, but hearing Jordan Gilbert, Shazib, and Mr. Sean all in the same place is just, it's a real delight.
Pull Band-Aids off real quick.
No Band-Aids necessary. All right, let's roll that footage and start talking some Counter-Strike, because I think it's about time for us to at least take a look at where this all comes down the line. And for what it's worth, there were some very interesting things that we could see from the outside. Jordan, right in this moment, tell me about your whole life.
Tell me about... Like this, a lot of times they don't have a lot of nades. They're force buying. It's very common for teams to force buy in second round. You can see I'm thinking about throwing a flash, and then I realize, you know, I'm just going to take the dry fight. I get one. I see the other guys here. They're peeking me. No damage to me done yet, so I just stay tall with the fights, get naded, doing my thing, pulling out nades in the open. You know how I do.
Yeah.
We get a 5v3 situation right here. So what happens is Rory kind of, he admitted a little bit. He made a little boo-boo right here. Unnecessary play where he assumed they were already rotated.
Now, pause it right here if you can. The real thing here is that Pimp spotted out the 1v1s, and I kind of want to ask you guys about the comms and sort of how it all goes down in that moment. Not exactly.
Maybe you remember better than me, Shaz. I remember like 2 things maybe.
Yeah,
like,
there were like
don't peek, then peek.
Multiple miscomms here. So it's a 5v3. We're out long. You know, Jordan got those 2 kills, and you know we're supposed to reset. You know, they're forced to make plays and make peeks. We can get the scout in the pit and then progress from there. Throw deep smokes or something. Instead, some people wanted to swing and fight because when Rory walked out mid, which he owned up to immediately after as a mistake, he said there were 2 mid. So like, okay, we should scale quick, scale quick. So I see Ricky out wide swinging, fighting, right?
Just out there.
And I'm like, oh man, I got to go help him. So I peek to trade 2. And then the other 2 guys are getting ready to smoke and wait. And like that kind of miscomm just
And then I didn't peek long because I was like 50 damage. And I heard the call that I was like, I wanted to wait. And then it's a classic thing of a little too many ideas and a little too hasty. I think overall just the settling down was needed.
Yeah, because I think if you had to do it all over again, you'd probably have Shaz get in the pit,
Throw
hold
one
from
flash.
the right side of pit, and then you guys scale up on the left wall probably and throw a flash.
Either do a flash like that, or if he keeps getting fought, maybe from top A, right, you would maybe throw smokes.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously that one didn't necessarily break down in your way, but...
Still early in the match, luckily, but it was
Yeah.
unfortunate. We could have started off cleaner.
But I mean, it does really only take one round to kind of snowball and get things going in one direction.
Yeah.
In the other way, I guess the viewers at home, they probably don't understand what it is that when you guys get done with a matchup like this. For example, for that round in specific, when you go back and review that, what is the process for reviewing a demo?
I mean, you look at like what the plan was the original round, and like what people can remember what the comm was, the comms were, and like you try to take that context and kind of break down like the different mistakes. So like the first big mistake I would say was Def walking out mid there in a 5v3. You know, I think he heard the two guys rotate CT and he assumed that they wouldn't care about mid, but I forgot which player was aware. And then from there, you know, we need to be on the same page about progressing up long there. It's a 5v3. We're not supposed to rush into anything and just follow the game plan.
Yeah, I mean, as an in-game leader yourself at one point, I think that you're probably on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're both correct. Like, Dep probably shouldn't have gone out mid. Ricky shouldn't have swung wide long. And at that point, you know, everyone's just trying to trade off of each other and play off of each other.
And trying to get something going back in the round. Well, let's keep looking in here because we actually have round 14-14. And I think when we talk about this game, first, we need to just kind of set a preface here. Nico went nuts for a while. Fair?
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny. As like his opponent in the match, we were kind of laughing because he wasn't playing that well. But like before this point, right? Like he wasn't. His team was like doing all right, but you know they have better performances in them. So this round they rush long. We don't have a great buy. We probably should have saved, but we thought, hey, we could get away with kind of like a cheeky buy. This unfortunately happens to Rick right there. I end up getting a kill, but the whole play this whole round is Rory pushing top mid. So if we want to pause, if we could pause production, I don't know if we have the ability right now.
We do.
We're right here. And then I'll let Shaz take it away because it's kind of funny. So you get this kill. I don't know if we're going to be able to stop. Shaz, just keep going with it.
Yeah, so the whole play was supposed to revolve around Rory that saved the AUG, pushing off Cat because they've knew like a really slow default. He's got that opening, flank them long.
7 HP.
We committed a bit too much on the fights long because we wanted to throw nades and like contest it and make sure that we had their attention so he could flank around. Because if we didn't, then they would be like, okay, wary of it. And then from that point, we kind of misplayed the trade battle at long, as well as we weren't sure how many were out long. The comm to Def was that there was only one more long.
Kill.
So.
And then they just showed the double kill right there.
Yeah. And
so
then,
they didn't. Shaz spotted him lower. I'll just from that perspective. And then I was actually watching Peter's screen, and I think because it's a 1-on-2, he didn't expect Nico like to just do that. Like they knew they had space at long, so Peter's probably like, oh, I'm just gonna hold this. And I remember watching a screen, and like you can tell it kind of caught him off guard, which is unfortunate because Peter is so on point in many other situations.
And just to clarify, when you say Peter, you're obviously talking about Stanislaw.
Stanislaw, yes, correct.
Yeah. In hindsight, round 14-14, how would you have approached it differently?
Well, we could have either saved straight up and went for like a more stronger buy on the tie round to OT, or I don't know if maybe we should have just let Rory fight that guy along. You saw him take off to 7, and we told him to fall back to mid. Like we're like, hey, take away to mid. So like he might have got that kill, which might have forced Nico to like not smoke mid ramp because he smoked out that because he knew Rory was flanking him, and then he might have just been more vulnerable to getting traded by Shaz and Stan. But it's looking back like that, it's so bad. Like you said on the eco round, the only things you could really take away from review are high level things, because if you get too specific, it's like that situation might not come again. You just got to look at the protocols, let the guy maybe play next time.
And Sean, what's your take on this 14-14 scenario we have here?
Oh, well, I think they had a pretty cool idea, you know, playing long heavy and then Rory flanking long like that. I think he probably could have gone back to T-spawn, but it's literally just a judgment call at that point.
Right. And, okay, let's round out this entire matchup, right? 15-14, you know, dare I say, balls to the wall.
Vito's coming in.
Everything has went chaotic. And as the Vito's flying for this Cloud9 phase game, was it a comment at the end that you guys knew they were going to be running off on long? Is that how that all panned out in the end?
Well,
so we didn't know what their play was going to be at the start of the round for that round, and so it was like we knew we wanted to contest it to take attention for Rory, but we also kind of played it wrong because we miscommed to him and told him there was only one more out long. So that's why he didn't commit to that fight flanking. He was worried about being flanked from T-spawn.
Yeah.
Well,
might have been a miscomm.
Well, the miscoms, it's Counter-Strike, right? That happens. Now, the biggest matchup we have of the day right now, it might sting a little, but it is FaZe versus Cloud9. Okay?
Oh, this is interesting. Cloud9's permaban has normally been Dust 2, but they banned, one of them banned Train. I don't know if that's Cloud9, but it looks like they are going to be playing Dust 2 in this matchup.
Yeah, I think that was the sentiment, exactly. But I guess my last question for you guys is this, and Sean.
Well, I have one question. So Cloud9 picked Cash, which is the same thing FaZe picked against you guys, right?
Yeah.
And you guys had you guys picked it. I'm sorry. You guys had a lot of success at stopping the A main push. What would you guys suggest Cloud9 does to have that same success?
Yeah, so we did a lot of preparation since it was our pick, and we knew kind of like what they like to run, how they like to play. They seem to go in like the same spots, and when they do their A main control, they'll pre-smoke it, and we kind of read the round that they were going to do it when they were on that kind of low desperation buy, and so we were using pre-nades. Pre-naded them both. We actually killed both of them with our nades, I think, and then on like another gun round, we pre-naded highway box, and then we were just
There's like 4 different rounds where we took players to 20 before seeing them.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to round this all out, and I'm just going to ask you guys straight up as, you came fresh out of the server as of yesterday. If you're Cloud9 in this situation, how do you face up against FaZe?
FaZe is a pretty simple game plan. They're trying to create space. Guardian will play spots and try to make himself seem bigger than he is. A lot of times we just literally put the pressure on them that they probably didn't want, and it gave us a lot of kills in a lot of situations. So I'd say Cloud9 just needs to not try to get too desperate. They have the ability to outshoot these guys if they need to. Keep it pretty simple.
Shaz, closing thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much what he said. Like, if they do their preparation, as we did in our best of 3, they played pretty similar to how we prepared, and so we kind of expected the things that were going to happen. And, they don't have a whole lot of time to just change everything that they do.
Yeah.
So I'm confident Cloud9 could do this.
Yeah, well, we will see in due time. The map selection has already been locked in. Of course, the vetoes, everything is there in place, ready to go for that last best of 3 of the day. So it's about time we kick it over to the desk. I think that's the sentiment. You good with that, Sean?
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Awesome. Let's get out of here and hand it over to Mr. Richardson.
Thank you very much, Trace. Yes, awesome to have those guys there and getting us some extra insight ahead of a very big game. Now, let's think about this. Thinking caps on. The veto has gone down. I guess that's where we'll start. So I guess we should probably get some introductions in order. I am not alone at this desk, thank goodness. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson, and I am going to be joined by 2 beautiful chaps, the voices of Chad Sponge Birchall and Jacob Pim Finicky. Oh, I did it again. He's polluted my mind.
It was close.
It was all right, Alex.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But yes, FaZe Cloud9, we have that rematch, and it is, of course, air quotes for the rematch, but either way, we have already seen FaZe tested by complexity to an absolute limit. That is, of course, why we got the opportunity to hear from them. Some of the same maps showing up as well, Jack.
Yeah, I'm sure that played into Cloud9's pick, right? Seeing what complexity were able to do to them yesterday, but what's most interesting for me is the fact that we have Nuke coming through as the 3rd if we go the distance, right? Yeah. FaZe, historically, not a map that we see them play, it's not a map that's been their wheelhouse. Yeah, but most times it is, right? And actually here they've removed Overpass in the first phase, and that Cloud9 have removed Train. So I'm curious to think if Train was still in the pool, if FaZe would have gone for that pick instead of Dust 2. But Dust 2 feels like that's a map that FaZe should have all the players to cover that quite easily.
So FaZe float their permaban in a major elimination match. Jacob, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, it means they've been practicing it, surely, right?
Exactly. It means that the team has been involved and they've been trying to work on their map pool. I was looking into it because I was very surprised to see these maps coming in as well. The last time C9 played Dust 2 was the 28th of September in 2018.
Wow.
That is quite insane to think about. This Cloud9 lineup is not experienced when it comes to Dust 2, whereas if it goes to Nuke, the last time FaZe played Nuke was at ESL Belo Horizonte in 2018. I think that was the 16th of July or June or something along those lines.
Early.
It was a J.
It's definitely early.
Almost a year ago. So we're going to see maps that we normally never see any of these teams play right now.
I think what is a unique point here is as Cloud9 have played more games, they've started to look more comfortable, but FaZe, it seems like they're trying to be more strategic, which is definitely the path they have to go. And with Nico as the in-game leader, I'm sure Yanko is bringing in a lot more of that structure. But you can see how flustered they look in certain situations or unsure of themselves. When it is just 5-star players running default, you're making your own instinct plays and then looking at the radar and following what gap makes make sense. But when you have protocols in place, when you have contingency plans, you're kind of following a blueprint that's been laid out for you.
But how much can truly have been fixed of FaZe's cash? Because you guys were heavily critical of FaZe's decision-making. You said they have an A main play, and then they stood like statues. That was your summary of cash from FaZe.
Yeah, when they got bullied off of being able to go into A main aggressively time and time again, they just sat on the side. They had Nico try and solo Orb, and Complexity did a fantastic job of swarming him, and then the retake at that point with a number disadvantage, it's quite difficult to get back into, especially if Nico doesn't get one kill. Right. So I think they're definitely going to adjust what they were doing, maybe be a little bit more structured on their A main takes.
And I know there was a conversation, the word middle was thrown around a lot, Jacob. There was an absence of mid-control from either side. I assumed Cloud9 are probably going to be looking to exploit that.
Definitely. The good thing for FaZe, though, coming into Cash is it is a lovely map in terms of you can switch that blueprint off. You can just go in and play as 5 individuals and just play the typical FaZe game. So I would expect them to come out and look a lot different than what we saw from yesterday against against Complexity, because that's needed. You said it yourself, Chad. Yesterday they were getting absolutely outplayed by Complexity. They cannot let that happen against Cloud9 today. So I expect to see FaZe come out and be that unit of 5 individual star players and actually go off.
Well, the most star-studded individual, and this is what Peter from HLTV.org has coined him, I believe, the ultimate legend. This is his chance to get back into the top 8 of every single major. If he goes out here, that streak stops, and he was the last survivor. I think it was him and Crims, and then Crims didn't make it through last time round in London, and now Olaf is the sole survivor of that legacy.
I mean, I'll add more to that as well. Not only that, but also, let's not forget, Guardian. This man has been a staple of competitive Counter-Strike for so long now, seen as a star for years. He had his major trophy taken away from him 3 times, most recently versus a Cloud9 organization.
You ready for one little step further than that? Here at this event last year, the IEM Katowice, Flusher and Fnatic broke the hearts of FaZe Clan as well in that 5-map thriller, right? So the Cloud9 name, Flusher in his clutches.
Oh my goodness.
We got Russian automatic. You know, there's a lot of revenge to be had here for FaZe.
This is essentially, this is like a MMA fight with mouse and keyboard. There's a lot of fire in the bellies of these players, and the last team talk's going on. Of course, Yanko on the microphone there talking to them. What do you reckon, what can you possibly be reminding them of coming into this one? You've had a day to prepare for this. Your cash got exploited and executed versus Complexity a day ago. You're going into it now in an elimination match. What's the chat?
You have 4 or maybe even 5 of the best aimers, you know, you can look at in Counter-Strike, right? This FaZe roster is so star-studded. Just stick to your guns and be confident in your plays, because that's what gotten them so far. That's what they built their bread and butter on. You know, just adding a couple of protocols, some defaults, some strategies, some mid-round contingencies, that should just make their play better and elevate them.
And for Cloud9, Jacob, I mean, this is a roster that have, even in this tournament, had ups and downs, a very close couple of losses, some very opposite of close losses, 16-0s, not pointing fingers towards Astralis, and of course a big win versus Hellraisers. So at the moment, we still don't really know where their ceiling is. Can they compete with FaZe?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think FaZe have been looking that scary, and considering Cloud9, you're right, they have been sending us a lot of mixed signals, and Flusher is a great example of that.
The mix
I know, but mixed signals is the best thing.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But a great example of Cloud9's major run so far has been Flusher. He started out playing poor. He started out being one of the worst rated players in the tournament. Now, the last 3 games in those best of 3s, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's one of the highest rated players in the tournament right now, considering all the circumstances that is going on with Cloud9, with him right now. That is super impressive.
I see Rush warming up there.
Same as Automatic, right? You know, I remember doing a death segment with Sean, and we were talking about how low in the stats Flusher and Automatic both were.
Yeah.
And they're 2 players now who have just skyrocketed up. They've had to put in some gargantuan performances to get them this far. And the cool thing about this team, you saw in the post-game interview yesterday, was that they talk about patience. They talk about staying calm and trusting each other. And I think they're going to be able to do that here.
Fist bumps are coming in. If you have just joined us, you are right in time. A best of 3 with an absurd amount of hype. Not only is the veto blowing our analyst's mind, hopefully the Counter-Strike will too. We're going to be playing Cash first. We've got Dust 2 to look forward to, and FaZe's permaban as the decider. Hopefully we see all 3. FaZe, Cloud9, they start on Cash. Just 1. We'll see the top 8. We'll see the Spodek. Your casters are locked and loaded. Let's get into it.
The stage is set so beautifully. FaZe and Cloud9, star-studded rosters on each side of the map. We're going to get right into it with this pistol round. Elimination for one of these teams. Top 8, legend status for the other. Nico. Going to get aggressive. He might get caught in no man's land. But they're going to get aggressive. Pop Flash comes in, and there's Rain with the opening 2 kills. A third, and Nico's going to chime in as well. Cloud9 is stopped before they can begin.
Oh, and that's a whiff Molotov as well from Flusher. A bit tentative towards the end, but yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The hyper-aggression through in main yields all the kills that FaZe could have asked for. The bomb's been dropped out in the open too, so even if Flusher can somehow get around here and get the first pick, it shouldn't be doable. This should not be possible, as well as he played in the previous best of 3. This is a bridge too far. Can't even get his hands on the bomb. Turned around a bit prematurely. Still a bit of time to play with, but also Adren's watching the back. So even if Flusher does pull away here, Adren's going to have him dead to rights.
Maybe.
Or not.
Maybe. Adren.
Dude.
Oh my god. Looking for his little toes. There it is, Flusher. He is such a scrappy little player, isn't he?
2 health remaining.
I mean, the odds of him winning this are insanely low.
20 seconds. Could get the drop on the first player, actually, up on the box. This is where things could get interesting. Oh, but the hitbox is always going to be a bit of a nightmare. He has finally got that kill under apps. 8 seconds to go.
He needs to die. He needs to die. They could actually let him live if they wanted. Yeah, they can. Don't kill him until before the timer. This is an absolutely catastrophic mistake from Flusher. Now he's got to fight for survival and money, and he's got the first, but not the second. Nico's going to finish it off. That pistol round could not have gone any better for FaZe.
Absolutely. Even though they die, of course, they're completely fine replenishing those armors because now Flusher is screwed for cash. He's got $1,300.
It's actually, because he got, what, 3-4 kills, it's not the worst thing in the world. He does end up having a decent amount of money. I mean, it's going to hurt a little bit in the next round when they go for a buy, but it's not completely destroyed his possibility of mounting a fight in that round. But still, you have to admire. The Deaths just talked about it. FaZe on this map the other day against Complexity looked very lackluster on the CT side. They had the A main aggression and not much else. At least that time, at least in this first round of this map, that A main aggression works out beautifully.
FaZe relying on a monster performance from Nico to get past their previous best of 3. Maybe calling upon him again if things start to get a bit sketchy. Speaking of the man, he's up on the boost, but it's Rain that's going to chip in for the first one onto Rush. It is full Glocks at the end of the day for Cloud9. So in terms of their hope for getting anything done in this round, it's pretty low.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You might just be trying to see if you can find out how they're going to react to some kind of a situation, but I don't think you'll be able to gather any information that's going to give you any kind of massive edge moving forward. Obviously, all the research done prior. And yeah, I mean, FaZe had to lean heavily on Nico to win that series against Complexity. And likewise, Cloud9 has leaned heavily upon Flusher to deliver solid performances every step of the way. Here's Adren going to clean things up from behind. Flusher, after dying after the round end, getting no bonus money in the pistol, he has 3,700 to work with. That's an AK and armor.
Could dip down to a Galil if he wants to get some more grenades, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he was one of the main stars, really, in their previous matchup. They had moments of Rush as well, especially on Cash. Rush was very good on the CT side from A main. He was pulling off some crazy plays.
He said it in the interview as well. He's like, I haven't had my best performance in a tournament, haven't had my best performance in this series, but he's like, I did my job. You know, I'm going to be a CT rock, and he delivered on this map specifically. I'll have to wait till the next half to see if he can repeat it. There is a tech pause as we saw Dren popping off one of his headphones to talk to the referee. Mic issues, I believe. Going to get those sorted out very quickly. We'll get back into the action ASAP. How are your pick'ems? There's a lot of people out there that are riding this pick'em wave. You're one of them, and you're living the dream. You're already set. You've got your 5. You're chilling.
Feels good, man. Add Renegades. Yes, the boys.
Yeah.
There you go.
That'll do it. I'm not sitting so pretty.
You need FaZe, right?
I do need FaZe for my pick'ems. However, this is a very difficult match in my head. You know, I like to do the predictions every morning. I avoided this one. One of the rare times in my life I've avoided giving a prediction. I don't really know where to go with it.
No, I'm completely alongside you. I just tweeted before that I think this is like a 50-50 match.
This feels very close, especially because, not least because both of these teams have shown us an abysmal level and a pretty solid level.
Yeah. It's been two very separate sides to the beast. I mean, we've seen FaZe, again, you know, Nico's had that huge performance, but then additionally, he was one of their bottom fraggers for a couple of maps. Cloud9, of course, have been ebbing and flowing. I would say that their trend has definitely been going upwards, though, as the games have progressed on. So coming through into this game, there is a huge element of uncertainty in the unknown. But flusha has been, as we've already kind of said, that he's been one of their main guys. I mean, he has been performing exquisitely in parts, like entry frags, holding sites, getting clutches, everything you could ask for from him.
Yeah, same with Keo. Keo's been solid. You can see him on your screen. Rush has had a pretty up and down affair. Automatic has recovered nicely in this event, but it does feel like, and it's weird to say this about Cloud9 because they have such like that America's team image to them. To say like their top two performers that they've kind of leaned on are European.
Yeah, and I think Automatic, though, deserves some props as well, Moses, switching over to the AWP. I think he's actually been much better with the AWP than I was anticipating.
He's been super impressive to me, and I have a little bit of the benefit of being able to see him a little bit more than you do. I know at E-League, I thought he did a phenomenal job with the AWP, and it's not like putting it, you're not going to be comparing him to you know, the top operators in the world, the Simples, the Devices quite yet. I think the comparison to Device is interesting just because they're primary riflers that are now, well, I mean, Device has already done it, but Automatic is kind of in that progression. But certainly it seems like if Automatic gets some more time with this AWP to kind of flesh out how he wants to play with the weapon and get comfortable with it in different angles, he seems like he's going to have a pretty quick learning curve. So I'm really interested to see where he's going to be at with that gun in, you know, 1 to 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, on the opposite side of things as well, there have been a couple of disappointing performances, and I was a bit shocked. I knew that Olof was having a bit of a rough go of it this event, but to see his stats, he was rock bottom for FaZe. I think he had something like 55 ADR over the duration of the tournament, which for a player of his caliber, that is, and obviously he hasn't been at his golden age performance for a while now. He's had his injuries, he's had his problems, but yeah, I was expecting an event to really remember from him, and it hasn't been the case yet.
Especially as the Des just mentioned, the ultimate legend. He's made legend stage of every single CSGO major, which is an incredible achievement. He's the last one to still be holding on to that. I mean, he even tweeted out, remember, he's also teammates with the former teammates of Dennis in the Fnatic days. Dennis had his confidence issues, and even Olaf tweeted the other day, I need to step up. Which is, as you say, you know, being all the way at the bottom, an understatement. Although, to be fair on this team, you look at the names and it's like someone's got to be at the bottom, and you know, I don't think you can really fault anyone for necessarily being behind. Like, yeah, you're going to be behind Nico, one of the top 3 players in the world. Rain's been stellar at times. Guardian, you know, historically one of the best players. So yeah, every once in a while you're going to have one of those events or one of those games where you dip beneath them. I think everyone's just kind of shocked by the consistency of Olaf's quiet performances.
Sure, and plus, if FaZe are banging teams out left and right and they're getting easy wins, it's one thing to say, yeah, he's at the bottom of the stats, but when they're struggling, that's where the pressure mounts. That's where you're looking for your big players, the players that have been around the block. You know, we're talking about Get Right and Forest as veterans. Olofmeister's certainly up there. He's been around the scene for quite some time.
Oh yeah, he's seen it all. And for me, you know, I've always talked about him in the context. He's one of my favorite players in global offensive history because he's done everything for the teams that he's been on. He's played in so many different styles and roles, and you know, he's been the hard carry in his 2015 and the glory days where he single-handedly was spurring comebacks and beating teams and winning series on his own. He's been more, you know, passive and supportive roles, as we've seen with him at times in this lineup. We've seen him use the AWP, seen him clutch, you've seen him with Tech-9s. Like, he's such an adaptable player, and I've always admired that in the various players that we have in the pro scene.
But maybe alongside Dennis, who just put in a hell of a best of 3, maybe this is where Olofmeister really steps things up when it counts. Because again, if you have just joined us, the winner of this goes to top 8. The loser is done. This is the very last game we have of this stage of the major. Next up will be the playoffs.
Next up, yes, it will. Next up, we get those quarterfinals. That'll be what I believe those begin next Thursday. 2 quarterfinals on Thursday in the Spodek, 2 quarterfinals on Friday, 2 semifinals on Saturday, and the grand finals. We will crown a major champion 1 week from now on Sunday. The technical issues have been resolved, so I hope you got some popcorn, some water, whatever it is you choose to eat and drink, and we're going to get back into the action. It is going to be a bye from Cloud9. Utility is all right. Nothing to jump up and down with joy for. But the 5 AK-47 still an element of danger. flusha if you recall, survived the pistol round but died after the round timer. Didn't get any bonus money, so he's stuck with just AK and armor.
The only player for Cloud9 to actually strike and get kills in the first 2 rounds as well. He's on 4, everybody else on 0. Of course, still very early on this best of 3, but let's see if he can add to that notch. Meanwhile, FaZe have themselves a pretty standard stack. It's going to be Olofmeister up on the catwalk side, joined alongside Nico. And the sweeper role of Rain, who's on highway but can quickly turn around. Flusher has got a dink for his troubles. He's down to 15, and now it's down to this crossfire that's been established so well by Olofmeister and Nico. They've got themselves 2 kills. MP9 close range. Doesn't necessarily need to move Olof, but he's going to get the kill anyway on Kirishima. And the player that was tagged up first is the final to fall. Guardian finds Flusher in the back.
Just talked about Olofmeister gets 3 kills with the SMG and then swaps out for an AK-47. That was a beautiful crossfire, a bait and switch almost. Olof taking contact, getting that first kill, a really, really tough angle to clear coming out of A main. Nico jumps up on top when the second player turns to take care of Olof. And that's a tough fight to win right there. Over towards the door, a very narrow crack. Well done from Olofmeister. 3-0, and with all the storylines that the desk highlighted, it's easy to lose track of former teammates going head-to-head. Flusha versus Olofmeister. They've won... what, I think Flusha has 3 majors, and they won 2 together.
Well, once close teammates, now adversaries, whatever happens. Swede is going to move through for one of these 2 teams. Kirishima will hope to keep the French dream alive, because unfortunately G2 and Vitality are both out at this moment. Speaking of the man, not too far off landing on that Desert Eagle shot, but Cloud9 just have pistols.
That's got to be a point of pride for Kirishima, especially considering he's been left out of a lot of these quote-unquote French super team lineups. He's been almost abandoned by that scene, it feels. Certainly proving his worth in Cloud9. Nico, I thought he looked like he knew. Smoke just covering up the legs of Rush, but he's going to adjust nicely. Zels is still waiting in door. Olaf's at the off angle. This will be easily managed. Nobody falling quite yet for FaZe, unless Keo can land one of these deagle shots. It's not to be. Quickly 4-0 for FaZe, but finally you're going to have everything you want if you're Cloud9.
Yeah, full AKs and AWP available for automatic, which he has elected to go for. With Kevlar, additionally, can get a nade behind it in the form of a flashbang. So yes, this is where you're looking for Cloud9 to turn it up. Rush, Zelsis, automatic. None of them have a kill to their name in 4 rounds. Automatic with just 5 ADR. Now, will quickly change if he lands a couple of AWP shots. Let's see where he's maneuvering into for the time being. He's actually just posted up watching for a potential boost, but also having a quick spot across to Rain, who gets caught. He's been legged down to 18. Some significant damage traded, going in favor of Cloud9, but here come the grenades, and there's a stack of them towards Adren. He's lucky to just stay alive from all those nades that flew his way.
He really is. That's not bad way to apply pressure for Cloud9. Keo now waiting over in Sunroom. A boost going to come up, and this is part of that slow, methodical style that Flusha brings out as an in-game leader. Rush has talked about in interviews, really enjoying this kind of play. Already out of mid. The corners, Olaf pushed in towards A main. Flusha knows, trying to spam back, and Rush is going to get close up. Timing of this is going to be difficult for him. Automatic has 1 flashbang he can drop over the box, but he's also got a hold connector with that AWP. Would have to take a risk to pull out the nade in this kind of a scenario, and Rush is actually just going to turn dry without it. Nico's got the spray. Actually, he's dinked up right through the box. There's the counter flash. Nico, no HP to take this fight.
Rush was also tagged though, so both players exchanged a headshot through the box. Somewhat of a stalemate at the end. Both pull away. This is going to favor FaZe Clan though, because time is now of the essence. 25 seconds to go. Although most of the damage has been on the side of the CTs. If they can hold the line here, it's going to be a massacre. Cloud9 forced out into the open. Adren's going to hold down with the AWP, not able to get it done, and neither is Guardian. The Slovakian just misses out. Olofmeister and Nico gonna get caught in transition. 8 seconds and Nico can't stop this bomb from being planted. Rush finds the headshot. And welcome to the scoreboard, Cloud9. They finally get it done.
Great shots from Automatic with that AWP and all the hectic nature of that battle. I think Guardian, I don't know if he might be stopping them from swinging in towards Checkers, but if he puts that in the choke point, I don't know if Cloud9 can win this. They can't take any of those fights until about 10 seconds, so he might have just made a mistake on the Molotov there. That is a tough, grinded out round from Cloud9. Still up in Automatic's hands, and Guardian's got one as well. Quick flashbang, Flusher wants to go through, looks away, mid is smoked. He's got safety.
Love the aggression, the switch up in pace though from Cloud9. And Flusher will reap the rewards. Olofmeister peeks out a bit too far, loses his head. And with that death, it spreads out the A side even more thinly. Nico feels compelled to take the trade, but he comes out worse for wear. Excellent start for Cloud9.
This is the ugly side of FaZe's style. Two players go down in individual battles, no chance of refrags coming out from the rest of the FaZe members, and now all of a sudden you're playing a minute and 10 seconds with a two-man deficit. Gonna have to choose to stack a bomb site. Guardian's rotated over with his AWP. Not a lot of money left on the FaZe side of things. Guardian and Adren have a decent amount of cash if they can ever choose to save. And Cloud9 are actually adjusting towards the easier side of the map, towards that B bomb site. Adren rotating over, but I don't think he's going to enter the bomb site. I think he wants to be able to save this weapon. Cloud9 need to make a decision without bleeding players away, and Adren's just going to toss the smoke Molotov, establish some kind of a defensive presence, and hope they call his bluff. Or excuse me, hope they don't call his bluff. But they are.
We'll see if they don't. Okay, I was about to say if they don't smoke the tree, which would have been craziness, and the AWP could really open things up. Looks like they're actually going to go for this. Adren's going to try the timing. The flashbang, though, from his teammate actually blinds him. You can see what he was going for, but it backfires.
It's one of those tough scenarios where when you're throwing that flashbang, you don't know exactly the best place to put it, but you could see that was actually a pretty shallow smoke from Cloud9, which means when Adren walked through that, he would have had at least a little bit of cover, at least towards the blue tarp, at least a little bit towards Checkers, and he might have been able to get something done. FaZe, Rain, and Guardian just have to back off as Cloud9 are going to get their second round.
Saved AWP and M4 will give FaZe some options, but considering Olof's down to $0, Nico below 1,000. Be curious to see if they do invest behind it. It's 2 rounds on the bounce that have now gone to Cloud9. Guardian has 4.5k, Rain on 2.3k. Adren could buy and Guardian could drop, so let's see.
They're gonna buy.
If FaZe go for it.
I would be surprised if they don't buy. Guardian, yeah, drop over an M4 and AUG over to Olofmeister. That's been its own conversation to have.
Yeah.
FaZe clan in this meta and with all the, I guess, controversy and discussion around the AUG. Actually, they're not going to buy. That's actually kind of surprising to me. The lowest rate of buying AUGs is FaZe clan of the entire event so far.
Yeah, Nico's been pretty outspoken regarding the AUG, hasn't he? And I don't think we've seen him have it a single time thus far.
Well, they are fighting for their tournament life, so that might tell you something.
Read between the lines.
Actually, interestingly enough, Astralis is pretty far down on that list as well, in terms of one of the teams who buys the AUG less frequently. But they went 3-0, so who cares?
Yeah. And some of those matches, like the 16-0, didn't really get to see too many of the CT rounds.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't even really think about that.
Oh, I'm about to say, Zelsta's got to be careful. Olofmeister's got 2. He's also got the AK, but Automatic wall bangs him down, stops this nightmare. But it may be re-picking up some speed because Cloud9 are not out of the woods just yet. They still find themselves a player down. I think Rush has definitely has seen him now.
He's also heard the scope on Highway. Guardian comes back for it. A tough situation to manage. And Adren is pushed up in Sunroom. Just the USP. And look, Keo. He's clearing everything. Great reaction. He's dinked immediately. The bomb is so far away, and so is Automatic, though, so they can't really take advantage of this. And it leaves a lot of space for Guardian to get close towards mid with an AWP. He can cut off the bomb right here, right now. Automatic looking. Is he going to be aware? Yes, but there's nothing he can do. Molotov going to go on the ground. That would definitely stop things, but Rain just waiting patiently. And there's an Olaf Meister round. 2 kills with the P250 up close to steal one away from Cloud9. This is part of the result as well. You know, we mentioned Rush and the Silent Flusha likes to bring out the slow and calculated. You're pretty passive in the early stages of the round. That's kind of one of the elements of danger that it exposes you to. It allows Olaf Meister to get a pretty advanced position without any kind of knowledge of it. So once in a while, you will see those kinds of plays really hinder C9.